This is the first video in my series covering race and its depictions in various Japanese entertainment mediums, namely anime, manga, and video games. This first video is going to focus specifically on the latest live-action trailer for Death Note. And first off, I believe it's always important in YouTube videos that the blogger, YouTuber, whatever, comes off and says how they feel. I am not a huge Death Note fan. I will say that I was reading the scans back in the day, you know, those terrible scans where the quality of the image isn't so great and the translations are spotty, you know, like with Berserk and how it started off with Gats, Gatsu, Gutsu, and they had all these 10,000 wrong different pronunciations for the characters and misspell. You get what I'm saying. I started there. And eventually moved on to the anime because, to be honest, it lost me after the Mellow arc started. I really thought the strength of Death Note was the rivalry between Kira/Light and L, and after that point up until the very ending, it was like the roller coaster came to a pretty big halt. That being said, I think it's a good anime. Not in my top 10, but it's something I would recommend to most people looking for what I would consider intelligent and mature anime. As far as my favorite thing about it, it introduced me to Maximum the Hormone, to be honest. That was my favorite thing about it. And moving from there, I had always heard about the live-action Death Note being a thing, and one of the first rumors was that Zac Efron was going to be cast, and I thought, you know what, I could see it happening. It makes sense to me. He's got that intelligent look about him, and at the same time, that type of, you know, high school role model. After all, he's starting High School Musical, so that worked. To cast him as a bad guy, I thought was like a good idea. Let him do that. But of course, that never materialized, and instead we got this live-action version where, in my opinion, I can't tell what they're doing with Kira. He looks like he could be that smart and kind of popular guy in the community with his dad as police commissioner and all that. But at the same time, he looks like he could be played the loner angle, and I'm hoping they're not going there. And that's actually my first thought about the trailer. It was, well, is this really going to be like Death Note? Is it going to be focusing on something different? Like, they had these shots of cheerleaders and things like that made me go, oh man, I think they're going to miss the mark. So I went to the YouTube comments to see what people were saying. And, you know, the tactical facepalm just happened, and I couldn't really wrap my head around it. Because the biggest topic wasn't, wow, oh, I don't know what to think, or how are they going to do the rivalry now between Kira and L? How is this going to work? What are they going to focus on? It was on one thing only, and that was it's whitewashed. And I couldn't believe I was reading that. And there were comments like, did they even read the manga? Did they even watch the anime? Hello? Why is Light blonde? And I oh god, it hurts. Like, my brain hurts. Like, how is that even a concern of yours? You know, because I get it. I get that anime adaptations always are approached with some trepidation because, after all, including the Japanese ones, let's not forget, anime adaptations tend to be garbage for a very good reason, and I'll go into this in another video. Anime is good, just like the manga, because it's animated. It allows you to do more. And in this whole topic about race and its depiction, it definitely allows for more self-insertion. It allows you to immerse yourself in that world and not really be concerned about realism, which what live-action films have to do. And that's usually my concern, that it just won't be able to recreate the artistic merit of that medium. And people's main concern in this one was race. I will do a video on Ghost in the Shell because I do feel there are some similarities to this issue, but it's a completely different matter to me in Gits because it is the reliance, I believe, of Hollywood on a mainstream white actress to carry the film, despite having more Asians in the movie than probably any other Hollywood film in years. And Hollywood didn't feel they could bank on an Asian actress. That's what I believe about that, long story short. But Death Note, I mean, not the case, because that's why. I mean, they didn't try to do that. They didn't try to play this angle of, hey, we're honoring the Japanese source by throwing a lot of Japanese actors and actresses into it. At least so far, I haven't seen any of that. Instead, it seems to be what you should do in this situation, which is to take that setting and move it to America and then focus on what is the core aspects of that plot. You know, I mean, do people get upset at Edge of Tomorrow for being whitewashed? That was a fantastic movie and incredibly well done. And, I mean, you know, I wasn't thrilled about it starting out because I liked the mech designs in the manga, ironically done by the same artist who did Death Note. And I didn't like the idea of Tom Cruise being this young guy. I was like, they could have got somebody else. But once I watched the movie, those reservations went out the door. So I'm questioning this because there's another big issue in my opinion. Death Note already had a live-action adaptation, and it was Japanese. This exists. It's not like America beat them to the punch, and now they can't even get their own version out there. No, that's already out there. So I feel like if you're this purist who's always, in these sub-dub arguments, you're already aware of that movie. It's easily accessible. I think there's already 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. Like they did the whole 2 or 3 trilogy, kind of like Rurouni Kenshin did. So you have access to that. Don't complain that it's being adapted to an American audience now. That's nonsensical to me. And I hate to offend people like that, but I just cannot understand that perspective on it. It's not like Death Note is as, I guess you could say, nationally centric as a piece like Akira or even Ghost in the Shell. And on top of that, just like with Gits, the creator actually came out and said, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. So I can't even imagine why Death Note would even be remotely concerned with its depiction in America. Again, assuming they are actually doing a good adaptation, which I think should be the bigger concern. Again, I'm a little hopeful for it. I would like an anime adaptation to be done right in the West. I really would. But it's 2017 and we haven't had hardly maybe 2 or 3 good video game adaptations out of like 30 or 40 attempts. So I'm not as optimistic about anime. When, I also have some concerns here because when this happens in Japan, are you guys seeing the same thing? Like when Attack on Titan got changed to be Japanese, Black Butler, even Full Metal Alchemist, they're going to have Japanese guy wearing the blonde wig, Edward Elric. And I mean, I just wonder, is there some type of double standard? Or do people see that as, okay, well, the Japanese can play who they want to play because they invented the manga and they invented the anime, so they should be able to play their own characters, even if it's set in a different Western culture. But meanwhile, if we do it, is it not cool? Or is it just, I don't like to see anime change its setting, and I hate both of them. Either way, drop me some comments. If you have any ideas on video, and if you do have some deep thoughts, I'll try to respond. These are one of my first videos, so no pressure about all that like and subscribe stuff. Do what you want to do. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.